Welcome. I'm Diane Krakora, CEO of PartnerPath. Thank you for joining us on this week's Technology Channel videocast. I have Charlene O'Hanlon, my cohort in crime, as I do every week. Welcome back, Charlene.
Hey, Diane. How are you?
Good. I have a particularly soft focus today. I'm going with it.
Well, I was wondering because the way you said hi at the beginning, it sounded like you were maybe, I don't know, in a little bit of pain or you're kind of aggravated about something. So I just want to make sure that everything's okay with you.
Well, it is inauguration week, so we will we'll just leave it at that. And yes, lots of pain in my chest. Chest
Well,
pain.
but it's nothing to do with the channel. So.
Nothing to do with the channel.
Okay, good.
But good segue into our topic for today, which is from our 2017 State of Partnering study, which we are furiously working on to be able to get out. It should be out by the end of the month, knock on wood. And we asked 216 solution providers and 130 something vendors a plethora of topics. And one of the ones that we asked the solution providers was, why do they regret joining a vendor's channel program? So this is, they've joined the program and then they're like, oh man, I really wish I hadn't done that. And surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, the top 3 answers align from year over year over year. And 2 of the top 3 have to do with the really vendors and what they can actually do and make some really easy changes to ensure that the partners have a very happy and great experience with them. And so the top 3 are inadequate sales support, vendor failed to deliver on promises, and too much conflict. Which are the top 3. I think they've been in the top 3 for the last 4 years. Charlene, what do you think we can do about this?
Well, I think, well, I don't think there's anything I can do about it.
Sure you can.
I'm only one person after all. But I have to say that I don't think that, well, these top 3 don't surprise me. I don't think that the channel has moved much, or vendors have moved much to really address the issues from year to year that their channel partners are feeling, and whether it's perception or reality, that the point is, vendors, they need to acknowledge that their channel partners are feeling this way, and I really don't see too much happening in that way, other than, hey, let's maybe add another tier to our channel partner program to help segregate some of those channel partners who are feeling a little unloved. But yeah, it's one thing that I have actually, I'm looking at the results, and one thing that has always kind of I've found surprising is, when you kind of sign up with an with a company or something, you get on their email list, and then they just inundate you with spam and all kinds of stuff that you don't need. I almost feel like that should be one of the vendors' channel, one of the pain points with channel partners, because I don't think that vendors do enough to actually kind of personalize their experience with their channel partners. And I think maybe that's, that could be one of the, maybe one of those silent channel partner relationship killers, if you will. That just kind of always sticks in my mind as something that would really bug the crap out of me if I was a channel partner, if I was getting spammed by my vendor all the time. But I don't really see it on this list, so maybe it's not as big a problem as I think it is.
Yeah, it didn't make the top 10. We do have some data that we'll talk about later around the partners' expectations for communications from the vendors, as well as kind of what the vendors are doing in terms of newsletters. Do they push newsletters? Does it pull back into the portal? So we've got some data on communications and best practices communications as well. But it didn't actually make the top 10 list of reasons that they regret joining a channel program. I think that it is interesting that on the top of this, which is the first time it actually hit #1 spot, is the sales resources. And I think that also has to do with the shift of the expectations in the channel of moving from kind of the pure resell and into and support aspects, and more into a a relationship management with the customer, and really being expected to be that front end of sales and less on the services and support side. So I think with the partner saying, well, I need more sales help and more support in the field. But I think that's one of the easy things that the vendors can change as well through some training.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it's interesting that the channel partners are saying that, given the this shift that we're seeing within the channel to really focus less on being a channel partner of a vendor per se, and then and more being a solutions provider. So you would think that that would be less of a focus for channel partners moving forward, relying on that sales support from their vendors. And maybe that's something that actually will change in, over the course of a few years, as channel partners our solution providers get more comfortable with the sales process in general, and doing it on more of a vendor agnostic basis, rather than kind of relying on the tried and true sales pitch of the technology that they've been selling for however many years.
Yeah, and then I think it also goes hand in hand with point 3, which is too much conflict with the vendor, in terms of the issue, as well as too much conflict with the vendor, whereas too much conflict with other solution providers was well near the bottom. So the solution providers are saying, hey, I'm running into you too much in the field, and you're not supporting my sales efforts as much as I would expect. And I think a lot of that may also have to do with rules of engagement and who does what. Can we set up a pitch and a catch, rather than kind of everybody following the customer around?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned that there's less of a pain point for channel partners to see conflict with each other, and I think that's actually indicative of that move that I just talked about. The channel partners becoming their solution providers, and really differentiating themselves and having a specialized skill set, and so they're not a cookie cutter solution provider, a cookie cutter channel partner anymore. I think that we actually may see less channel conflict among solution providers than we will see with this increasingly channel partner vendor conflict, because I think vendors haven't really gotten a grip on what their solution provider channel partners are really looking to do, and right now it's almost looking more like an adversarial relationship, which is not obviously not beneficial for either party.
So we're going to dig into what the vendors are expecting for the partners' roles, the overall revenues that are generated from partners. We have a lot on cloud. So we're going to continue to dig into this data. And next week, we're also going to do a webinar that talks about some of the big trends that are going on. So thank you for joining me this week, Charlene, and thank you all for watching our Tech Channel videocast, and we'll be back next week with more details on another little piece of data from the study. Thank you all. Thanks, Charlene. Have a great week.
Thanks. You too.